Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Have you ever killed anyone?
No.
Favorite category on Pornhub? All right, so this is the very, very first, hopefully of many, right? Hopefully I don't lose interest in this. I don't think I will. I think interviewing's a fun thing, or at least I hope. But everyone, welcome. This is RagingJEDMAN. I wanted RagingJEDMAN to be the first person that I interviewed ever for this hopefully long episode series where I interview streamers about themselves and why they stream, and any question I can think of to help to pick their brain. Welcome, Jed. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, happy to be here. Glad to help out and all that jazz.
And Jed, of course, anyone who has visited my stream knows that Jed is not only one of my mods, but one of my oldest friends. And him and his family have been in and around my life since I was a wee little one. So for starters, we are drinking Jed's favorite drink, which is going to be hopefully a staple of these episodes. I want to always be drinking for the streamers that drink their favorite alcoholic beverage. Jed's is, and I believe I'm pronouncing it right, a Biminique. A Biminique, which is a rum and Dr. Pepper. And I was positive. I love your cup, by the way. I love that it's a big gulp and not and not something like a little glass like mine. I was certain when you told me that Biminique was your favorite drink, then it was rum and Dr. Pepper, that it was going to be, when I looked it up, like just some sort of spiced rum and some sort of soda, and that Dr. Pepper was your take on it. And no, it is 100% rum and Dr. Pepper. That is what
very specifically Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, and also very specifically, no further information on why or where the name came from. I couldn't find anything.
I thought that was very wild. I got back into Dr. Pepper a little while ago. I don't remember why, and I remember thinking like, man, I just really need to make a mixed drink. And I was like, I don't know much about mixed drinks, so I was like, let me look up what kind of
Dr.
drinks
Pepper
can you
mixed
make
drink
with Dr. Pepper. They're like, just put rum in it, and it's called a Biminique. And I was like, literally easy enough.
Wait, are you saying you made up that you created the Wikipedia, and this is a Biminique, and now it has taken hold? And
I mean, this is going to go out into the internet, so I don't want to
so no, don't lie. Well, the point was, I thought I would be like one of those like Nardoir or even like the Hot Ones host, and look up like this is the origins of it, and did you know this? And it turns out two things. One is it's probably just that I suck at doing background research because it consists of Googling something. And two, I was just blown away that there wasn't some website going like, here are the origins. It was made up by this singer from this band one day, but
I think what might have helped is looking up what the word Biminique just means. I'm sure it's like a word.
I Googled it. It's not. It's just a drink. Dominique is a word that means like of God or something. But anyway, we only have an hour. This is precious time. We can't discuss Biminique the entire time. If we go on a tangent, I want it to be about you.
Okay.
So, Clinky. All right. So, I want to start off all of these with kind of the classic questions that I assumed that you would expect, which I think would be good to go over, like who you are as a streamer. So, your Twitch account was actually created, if my stats are right, in August of 2012, which was almost 10 years ago. All right.
A very long time ago.
But I think your first stream was actually in July April.
It was April
of 2017. So you have like a 5-year gap, meaning that you were just a fan, I'm guessing, for a while before you decided to take on streaming. So were you pretty like active on Twitch and like in people's communities, and then it appealed to you in that way?
Yes and no. I started like the first 4 years, I was just mostly a lurker. I treated it a lot like YouTube. I didn't really use the chat function. But in the year before I started streaming, I started becoming like a lot more active in people's communities, typing, getting to know people, all that jazz. And it was like kind of like a more, I don't know. I just thought like I started like leaning into more of the social aspects of Twitch, other than just using it as like, you know, watching people do stuff for me. I became like part of the communities, and it became more of like a, you know, like when you join a Twitch community, like people like in your Twitch community and like the whole ecosystem that you have, it's a lot more fun to be like more active. And then like you kind of become part of the show. And then once you spend enough time being part of the show, you're like, well, I also want to do that. I also want to like provide a space for people to come and like join, be interactive, like meet people, then make them all part of this thing.
And did you so upon realizing that, did you then say, hey, I'm already a part of these communities, I'm going to like kind of wheel and deal this into a little bit of networking before I pull the trigger on me? Like I'm not going to go in blank because I know so many people? Or was it more of a, I'm getting the chicken and the egg part reversed, and it really was just, no, being part of these communities like made me pull the trigger, and it, you know, you didn't really think of it like that at the time?
Yeah, I didn't really like use the communities I was part of as networking. I wasn't really like, one of the first rules I learned on Twitch is no self-promotion, and I just like took that to heart, like probably to a fault. Even in like places where they are more welcome to people, like, you know, posting when they go live, talking about their own streams. I was just like, maybe it's just always like, since I started in like 2012, that was always the gripe, is like, you know, don't come into my channel and self-promote. So that just kind of like got rooted in the back of my neck as just something you just don't do. It was taboo on Twitch. So like I usually didn't ever talk about my stream in other people's communities unless directly asked about it by people who knew.
Well, and it's funny you say that. I remember when I first started streaming, you told me a story. You weren't trying to give me advice or anything, but you told me a story about how right when you started streaming, not long after, you're figuring it out. You didn't know what you're doing, and you did a charity stream. And I think it was Kyle, or who's a mutual friend of ours, comes into your chat and is like, hey, I just went into like 10 different Twitch chats and spammed your channel and said you're doing a charity stream. And you're just like, oh my God.
No, the interaction was amazing, because he came into the Twitch channel and he said that. He's like, hey, I just went into like, you know, so many different channels and like said you're doing a charity stream live. And I sat there and I read that out loud and I was like, oh, tell me you didn't do that. And then a random person responded to that saying he actually did. And I was like, oh no.
But hey, he got at least minimum one person to come over.
That guy was pretty cool. He ended up like being a follower, and like he stuck around for a little while. So he like had at least he understood. Like, Kyle had my best interest in mind, and like, you know, it wasn't, not everybody thinks it's a taboo to do that kind of stuff. And you know, it's, if you're not like embedded in Twitch culture, that's not something you're really going to think about. You're like, hey, this is a guy with so many people. Let me go try to get some to like, you know, my friend.
Yeah, which is,
he was just trying to be a bud, and he just didn't at the time understand the culture.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. Is I didn't think much of that story when you told me. I was like, oh, I'm going to trust Jed that that's a taboo, but I didn't. But now I didn't have the mindset I do now. And now, like seeing like having, you know, trying to run a Discord and in a Twitch chat, you really start to feel the like, I get it now. I get why you need to put up the defense early, let people know. Otherwise, it would just be chaos. You would just have it like all the time. So. Also, you know, looking back, trying to be a good interviewer, and looking back through everything you've played so many games. Just off the top of my head, I'll say, you know, Breath of the Wild, and you know what, Horizon Zero Dawn, and whatever the hell the Disney game is that I can never think of.
Kingdom Hearts,
Pokemon. I saw a couple like jump scare games in BioShock, and I think one of them was that Alien game.
Resurrection?
I don't know. I never played it, but I saw it in your clips. I literally watched like all your clips, trying to be a good interviewer. And the point is, you've been a variety streamer from the start. All right.
Yep.
And I know that when I first started, the idea was, you know, I'm sure you watched very similar videos to me when you started streaming, which was, what do I do? And one of the tips in almost all the videos is stick to a community, stick to a game for a long time, and try to like grab as much of the community as you can and like become a staple in that community. That's one of the tips I saw frequently. I don't know if you saw it. So did you go into streaming knowing like you're just doing this for fun and you're just going to play whatever you want? Or did you at one point want to like stick with a game? Was there a game that you like wanted to stream when you first started?
No, there was never a game that I wanted to be like my main game. I went into it knowing that like I play pretty much any game that comes out. Well, back in that time, I would play like every new game that came out. I'd be on top of it. These days, I'm like a lot more selective of like the games I play, but that's like probably because I feel like I lost a little bit of that spark that I used to have back then due to the state of the world and my mindset and yada yada yada.
Yada. All that serious
but yeah,
stuff.
back then, like.
Yeah.
But back then, like I just like played everything that came out. So I never really had the idea that I was going to stick to a single game. If there was one that I was going to do, it was probably like the one that I thought about was Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO. Just because I've been playing that pretty on and off for a long time, but I like with any game, like I'll play it until I'm like I feel good about it, and then I'll want to move on to something else. I would never have the patience to play a game every day.
Are you like me in that you made that sound so much more kind than my mindset when I get towards the end of a game. My mindset's kind of darker when I get towards the end of a game because I do the same, and it's honestly the more I like the game, the worse it is. And by the way, I'm doing the thing I told you not to do, and I'm looking at the camera while I talk to you.
Yeah.
I told you not to do that. Okay. I'm going to look at you. My mindset is so much worse the more I like the game towards the end because I throw myself into it so hard. I've talked to you and Stream about this before, Diablo 2 being an example. I throw my free time into it, right? I'm just like min-maxing how many high runes can I grind tonight? And then I have this realization that I've had with every game I've ever been really into one day where I just, in an instant go, oh my God, I'm wasting my time.
This is all useless.
This is all useless. And like, I was lying to myself with D2 and I was recording everything I was doing. Like, I'm going to make videos from this. It's like, no, you're not. You have 50 hours to edit through. What are you going to make a video out of? There's nothing in your single player. You're not even streaming it. You know, like you're not talking to anyone. It's not interesting. So,
well, I got rid of that kind of mentality kind of a long time ago. Me and my brothers always had like kind of conversations about like stuff like that. And one realization I came to, and it's a very simple thing, and I'm sure like you've heard this kind of like philosophy.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this, but I'm excited.
It's not a waste of time if you had fun. And like I have fun with these games, so no. Like when I get to it, like when I feel burnt out, I'm like, man, that was a great 170 hours I just spent in Elden Ring. I can move on to something else and come back to it later.
See, here's my worry with that thought, because I agree with you, and that's what saves me and brings me back, right, to a new game, a new thing. And all I do, by the way, and I'm still looking at the camera, all I do, by the way, is try my best to find a game that I can also stream. You know what I mean? So at least I feel a little bit better about it, regardless of knowing that it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, and here's why that logic scares me a little bit. Everything is pointless. You know, like your friends and family are what you want to stick around for, but everything at the end of the day is pointless. You just have to get enjoyment out of it. So if you have something that gives you enjoyment, great. But I'm worried that really positive mindset also has the flip side of everything is pointless hiding there at all times. So I'm worried that accepting...
it depends on how deep you want to get with it, because, you could make that argument too, man.
Well, I'm just worried that accepting the heads of the coin also means you're accepting the tails and just daring depression to flip it on you one day. You know what I mean? But I guess that's not exactly a chipper thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah, no. Nihilism is completely fun. I mean, we could definitely dive into that. That was like I decided like a few years ago, I wanted to be a philosophizer. And I was like, I'm going to read all of these cool philosophers. The one that I started with was Nietzsche. And then I was like, nope, don't want to do this anymore. I'm real sad about everything suddenly.
Is that how it's pronounced, or is it pronounced Nietzsche? I've always heard Nietzsche.
I think it just depends on how try-hard you want to be with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So Nietzsche is like, I think, the more colloquially used one. And Nietzsche is probably close to how it's pronounced, but I don't know.
I always thought it was pronounced completely wrong. Then I thought it was like basically pronounced like, not that it's spelled this way, but like Niche, like Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Yeah,
Sure.
but I don't give a shit. I know what you're saying. Like, if you read enough philosophy, you do start to get, especially some specific philosophers, you do start to get like a little bit of a who gives a shit about anything.
Look at the camera.
What's that?
I'm gonna put I should put like a bell on or something like shiny right here, so you just like keep staring.
Oh my
at me.
god, yeah. I wish I would have done that little prep talk I gave you on like while recording, so that I could just keep going back to it over and over again in the final cut and showing that I'm the one violating my own rule.
You could just take a permanent marker and put a dot on my screen on my head and just stare at that dot.
It's so hard because I've trained myself from teleworking. I've trained myself for like 2 years now to look at that camera to talk to people, and so it's like
that's where. So with teleworking, I did that a lot when I was still working, and I did the same thing I do while I was streaming. While I'm on a conference call, I'm staring at my own face because I kind of have a little bit of an ego about how good I look. So
I get that. Respect.
It's really hard not to stare at myself.
Game recognized game. I got you.
Yep.
Okay. So this is going to be kind of the more rocky stuff.
Let's do it.
Because I want to try out some stuff. I want to see how easy it is for me to play a clip. You know, I want to see how that looks in the recording.
Ooh, okay.
It's not going to be one of your clips. It's just going to be some random thing because I wanted to do a video file. But that's not all we're going to do. But before we get into anything else, you had something right before we started that you wanted to tell me. And I said, wait, save it for stream if it's something you think is interesting. So shoot.
So, yeah, a while ago, you were having a little bit of I'm not going to call it a crisis, but you were having a little bit of an inner dialogue about your ability to engage with new viewers and how you felt like you were doing the same thing over and over again. And we had like a little back and forth about it. We kind of started like, we should like do this thing where we could ask questions. But I gave you what I thought was a brilliant piece of advice. And you did not take it. And I don't blame you for it. You get a lot of advice as a streamer. Everyone's throwing advice at you like literally 16,
what was it?
16 bits a second.
What was it that I didn't take?
So I stole it. I'm going to take it, and I'm doing it now. What I have done... Oh, no. Actually, I kind of want to put this on the camera. I did this too early. Hang on. It's coming back. What I have done is I have purchased a set of absolutely blank trading cards.
Okay.
And I'm going to write 52 questions, one per card, on a deck of cards and put them in sleeves because I don't want the ink to like run off. And then when I have new people sub or new people come in and chat, I'm going to shuffle the deck, tell them to pick a number,
I remember
draw
this
that card, and ask them that question.
That's a good idea.
I think that's really cool.
That's a great idea. I feel like you took an idea and you said, how do I make this the most work for myself versus just having like a spreadsheet or something.
It's called being a streamer and making it more engaging for the audience.
Are you going to make the cards part of it? You know, like you're going to pick up the card and be like, this is the question?
Yeah. I'm going to say, like, what card do you want? And I can even, like, set up a card cam so they can watch me shuffle.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Watch me draw, like, to their little choice.
I see what you're saying now. I thought the cards were completely off camera and you're just like, this is the best way I could think to write down 50 questions.
they're good. I mean, I also really like my handwriting. So
well, you're an artist, so which is something we should also talk about. Like you don't fancy. I know you don't fancy yourself an artist, and most talented amateurs, I'll say, right? You put yourself in an amateur category, right?
I definitely say I'm an amateur.
I'm not saying you're going to art shows or anything and making money, but you're more talented than the other people around you in your friend group, right? So you have talent. It's just not, you compare yourself to, it's relative. So you're comparing yourself to people who are more talented than you, and your friends are comparing themselves to you and saying Jed is talented, and you've gotten that your whole life, right?
It's less of that, and sure, I was doing that like in the past, but like now it's just turned into I haven't even doodled or drawn a circle in like 6 years, 4, 5, 6 years. I haven't done anything in like years.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's more so just being out of practice, more than like comparing it to people. But yeah, I don't consider myself much of an artist. I'll say that.
Well,
I'll say that. I'm not much of an
My
artist.
point was just that I think that whatever talent you do or don't have probably translates over to having a nice handwriting as well, because it just means you have that muscle coordination. You control your. I mean, I guess handwriting is probably more complicated than that, but I imagine that there's
it's like more patience. I don't mind writing slower. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just about efficiency. The letters don't matter.
After watching your Stardew run, yeah, I imagine like taking like, you know, an extra 10 minutes to write a paragraph.
Oh my
probably
God, no.
doesn't like.
By the way, that Stardew run is going great. It's going great. I restarted it. I don't know. I think you were there.
I saw the restart where you got her up to 2 stars in like 15 days, 14 days, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've restarted a second.
No. That's the restart, and it's going. And then, by the way, that's why I messaged you. I messaged you on Discord about doing the Joja, Joja Community Center, whatever route.
Ooh,
which I didn't
we
do.
have to talk about that.
I didn't do. Why?
Because I'm about to start my Joja run.
Nice.
Because there is a single item that the Joja run makes easy to get.
Which is what?
The auto petter.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I read that.
And you can get it in a non-Joja run, but it's RNG.
Yeah, you have to get it from from the Skull Cavern,
right? You get it from the Skull Cavern.
Like chests. You have to find like treasure rooms.
Maybe. I forget. It's a drop off of enemies during a specific event. But yeah, anyway, it's just it's easier to get. And I'm like, God, because I do heavy animals when I play Stardew.
Dude, I mean, it's like I forget.
Each animal is filled with I have a coop for each animal type, and all of them they're filled with that animal, and I have a barn for each animal type, and they're filled with that animal.
Oh, okay. Well, for each animal type filled. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
there's a barn that has 12 cows.
Dude,
There's a barn.
So you need an auto petter,
sheep.
otherwise your entire day is petting animals and picking up.
It's like the first 3.5 hours of your day.
That's not that bad, I guess. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
That feels like that's not. I want my whole farm to be filled to the brim with everything I could possibly plant. But anyway, I agree with you. The workaround I heard for non Joja runs is you because you can get the petters from chests from treasure rooms in the Skull Cavern. So on max luck days, where you boost up your luck as much as you can. You also you go to the Skull Caverns and you get a chest room like every couple levels, like 5 levels or something like that. So you just like spam the Skull Cavern and hope to get one from the chests. But yeah. Anyway, if you guys want to see some Stardew, if anyone watching this wants to see some Stardew, you check out Jed. He'll be streaming next Tuesday. And from whatever day this is, you're watching this, it'll be next Tuesday. Jed will be streaming.
I actually... we'll talk a little bit about that. I got the lighting set up. I got the new camera set up. I got my Elgato 4K 60 Pro. What the fuck is it called? I got the new Elgato capture card. I'm setting up the Stream Deck and my Go XLR tonight to stream tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Nice. This will be the first real Tuesday that I actually stream.
The inside joke that we're doing right now is that Jed always just says when you ask him when he's streaming, he'll say next Tuesday. So
it's always next Tuesday.
He hasn't streamed in a while, off and on, but he
been exactly a month.
Took a long break.
I played Pokemon Arceus when it came out,
and there was a long break before that too. So up and down. Okay, so I want to see how this clip works, and I want your just genuine reaction to it. And I'm also curious to see how this comes through on the recording. So it's kind of an experiment for me. But let's see.
I'm going to see the clip, I imagine.
I assume so. So let's see how this works out. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right. So I
have a lot of reactions to that video, actually.
Okay, so your genuine reaction.
Amazing. My first reaction is that in all of his life, John Goodman has never even been nominated for an Oscar. And I think that's a fucking tragedy.
That's insane.
And the Oscars is the most bullshit just organization that could ever exist. specifically for that reason, and definitely a lot of others, including racism and sexism and stuff, but mostly because they have not given John Goodman the recognition he absolutely deserves.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. I agree. I can name a handful of John Goodman movies off the top of my head that are my top 10. What is your pinnacle? Like your top two? I don't want to put you on the spot. Top two John Goodman movies that you're like, come on. How did this role not get something?
Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that one.
I think he did a great job in that movie.
I mean, that one, he was the standout in that one. Like, he
was also the lead in that one. That was like kind of like there was 3 characters in that movie, I think, 2.
But he wasn't the lead, right? He was just the biggest actor, but like he wasn't the main character.
Wait, we're not talking about Cloverfield, right?
No, we're talking about Cloverfield Lane. Like, they go down to into his shelter, right? But he's not. He's the antagonist, right?
Well, yeah, he is the antagonist. But there's also I think there's only 2 characters in that movie, so it's hard to not be the lead when there's only 2 people.
I thought there was a third at some point.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
She lets someone in, right, and it pisses him off.
Oh, yep. Was that wasn't like a thing? That was like 20 minutes, and then that situation.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It's been a while. It's been a while.
It has been a while since I've seen it, but I just remember my reaction to that movie. I loved his performance in that movie. It was just great seeing him in something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't seen him in an evil role before that, I don't think.
And man, there's just so many. I would probably say his next best performance was with Denzel Washington, and I cannot remember the movie name. But they sing "Time Is on My Side" the whole time.
I don't think I've seen this. I thought you were going to go Big Lebowski, which is going to be one of my picks because his.
Oh God, See, there's too many good movies with him.
Yeah, I mean
That's why it's insane that he hasn't even been nominated for an Oscar. Because if I hear someone gives me the plot of a movie and they're like, "Here's the plot," I'm like, "That's okay." Like John Goodman's in it, I'm like, "Oh, I'll see that." Absolutely. I don't care what the plot was. I'll definitely go see him in that.
You know what speaks to how good John Goodman is as an actor, or how big he is too as an actor? The fact that Roseanne came back, right? Defying all odds, they brought the cast back for Roseanne, the show, Yeah. And the show, Jet, not Roseanne, the person.
Yeah, not the real life person, Roseanne.
She also came back, and they brought her back. And then she got in some she said some inflammatory stuff on Twitter, and then they booted her off the show, which would have killed any other show. Would have just been well, we tried, right? And everyone would have been sad because their careers that they were rebooting were all gone again, except they had John Goodman, and so they're like, fuck it. Just call them the Connors and leave the show on. You know what I mean? What other show could have survived?
Choice ever. Fallen was the name of that movie.
Fallen.
John Goodman and Denzel Washington.
Maybe I have seen it.
It's really old. It's late 90s. It's where the devil comes back, and Denzel Washington and John Goodman are police cop partners, and they're hunting down the bad guys.
Police cop partners.
And they kind of understand that the devil is possessing people, and he possesses them through touch. So if the devil is possessing you and then you touch a person, they get the devil in them. And the big twist at the end is that John Goodman gets possessed, and then him and Denzel Washington have a fight. And it's just a great movie. Awesome movie.
There were a lot of, I feel like that era had a lot of possession movies, had a lot of
a lot of Denzel Washington movies too, honestly.
Well, I was thinking there was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie around that time where he was fighting the devil.
Oh yeah, we love talking about the devil once we started hearing about D&D more often.
Oh, was that what it was?
Dungeons and Dragons became a big thing in the late 80s, early 90s. Then parents were scared. Then people were like, "Well, we got to lean on that fear and talk about the devil possessing people."
I'm surprised that they didn't write that in. The big church groups didn't get with the Writers Guild of Hollywood and listen, if you guys are writing a movie about the devil, okay, I want you to put a D&D board in the background. I want there to be some little thing in the plot where this all started when the teens pulled out the Magic the Gathering cards, and that's when the devil took over. But no.
All right. And then to circle back to that clip that you showed, my second reaction was, that movie's amazing, but also we went and saw it in theaters. Was when I was in daycare. I don't know if you were there that day, that we all walked to the daycare to watch the Flintstones. And I remember how upset my mom was that the whole movie was fine, but then when they were trying to pay with their credit cards after their eventual fall from grace and they were out of money, tried to pay with their credit card, and he's like, "We got a problem with your credit," and they're like, "What's the problem?" And he says, "It's no damn good," and he smashes it. My mom was so upset that they said the word "damn" in the movie,
which is so funny because you see, Jed's grandmother, I believe she owned the daycare, right?
I don't know, actually. Okay. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, I know nothing about my family. I don't know if she was the manager or the owner, but
let's say she owned it, right? So
she owned
Jed's grandmother owned the daycare that I went to as a child, and his mom worked it, and so she was the one like corralling us, and his grandma was the one shoving soap in our mouths if we got mouthy, and what's funny about them being offended by "damn" was that's the first place I watched the first Ninja Turtles movie. It was on in the daycare above in the that main area at the main table, right in the main large big room, and that little TV that was up above that table. If you remember the area I'm talking about.
Oh, I remember.
And it was just
coloring at those tables a lot.
It was just blaring, and you're not really paying too much attention to it. But at the beginning of the movie, if you remember, Raphael can't catch Casey Jones. Can't catch Casey Jones. Gets in a fight with him, and then he just holds up his arms and just goes, "Damn it!" And I remember being like, just draw to the floor. Oh my God, a curse word. You know what I mean? And looking around, and no one even noticed it was on in a daycare. But kudos to them for having the best Ninja Turtles movie just blaring in daycare. That's awesome.
I thought they were real people. I thought the Ninja Turtles were real things that existed, and the worst day of my life is when I learned magic isn't real.
Yep.
And everyone's stupid humans.
It's all pointless. We've covered this. It's all.
Oh yeah. It's always going to go back to nihilism.
I do remember waking up one morning and asking my mom when we were going. I apparently had dreamed that we were going to visit Inspector Gadget and his daughter Penny, and I was very excited. And when my mom explained to me in detail over and over again that they are not real and we are not going to visit them, it was definitely a blow. Okay. So the clip thing, I think, worked. So we'll see how that. Oops, hit my mic. We'll see how that looks.
Pretty good, yeah.
My plan is to have a random clip of some sort at any point, and then also to review the streamers' clips. But
yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Like pull up like a segment and be like, "This is a really funny clip. Do you want to like talk about it?"
Exactly. Honestly, I want to rip off.
Don't say it. I know where you're going. You don't have to reveal your secrets. I know.
What do you think? Where do you think I was going?
You want to do the Hot Ones Instagram thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Explain that, Graham. I want to call it like. I want to call it like something silly, like explain yourself or what the fuck or something like just like what is this about?
What the shit is that clip?
What? It's time for our favorite goofy segment.
Monkeys just like dance around.
Yeah, the post production is just going to be crazy for this for these videos for sure. All right, so I have some stuff I want to ask you at the end, but I have another segment I want to do.
Let's do
where
it.
I want to put a timer on the board, which you won't see. So you're just going to have to answer as fast as possible. I'm going to use my phone for this one because this is very low budget, obviously. I'm going to set a 15 seconds maybe is long enough. Well, I guess we're going to find out. And I'm going to rapid fire questions at you. I'll give you 20 seconds. I'm going to rapid fire 10 questions at you.
Okay.
My plan was if you can do it, then it's 5 gifted subs on your next stream.
I thought you just win. You just win.
No,
the thing.
No. If you can do it, if you can get through, I'm gonna do 15 seconds because it's money. I'm poor. 5 gifted subs on your next stream if you can get through all the questions. The key to this is to just answer as quick as possible so we can get through all 10. Some of them are longer than others. All right, so I'm gonna I'm going to set a timer, and then I'm going to go. Are you okay with these terms?
I agree to your terms.
Okay. You have nothing to lose. You don't have to do anything if you lose. You get one pass. Okay? All right, here we go.
So do I come back to the question if I pass, or do it?
You can just pass.
Get a rate?
You can just pass one question.
Okay.
If you can't think of anything, you freeze up. Most of these they're not factual questions. Like, they're not like, hey, what, they're not a Trivial Pursuit question or anything like that. All right.
How many dimples are on a golf ball regulation size?
What's the answer to that?
Like 138.
Is it really, or do you just confidently say a number?
Confidently said a number. But that was a question. There was this show about this like guy that woke up in a river, and he had like amnesia, except like he knew everything except anything about himself. And so like the police were like, "Oh, you got to join our cop squad." And he became a cop, and he was like investigating crimes. And so like, he knew nothing about himself, but he knew everything about everything. And so one of the first questions he was asked when people were realizing that he had this power was, how many dimples are on a golf ball? And he like threw the answer out.
So, this is a show. This is a show.
This is a show back in like the 90s.
I thought you were telling me like a story about a guy. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, this is like, and then I woke up and I didn't remember anything.
And the thing is, because it's such a stupid thing for the cops to be like, you're going to join our police squad. I was just like, what are the odds? What a cool life. Okay.
What a great guy this guy must be.
All right. I don't know if we're going to get the time right on this. I'm going to go with 15 seconds and see if we can get through them all. Right? You ready?
Like, ask these questions and see how long it took to ask these questions?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Set timer, 15 seconds. All right.
How many questions? 10?
Hold on. What?
How many? You said you're doing 10 questions?
Yeah. I probably need more time than that, huh?
Can you say the question in under a second?
I don't think that I can even get to these questions in 15 seconds.
I don't think you can ask the questions in 15 seconds, honestly.
Okay. 30 seconds on the board. You think we can do that?
Let's do 30. That seems fair.
Some are pretty long. All right.
We'll see how long this takes. I'll give you an answer for every question, whether I have one or not, and we'll just like use this as a template. How fast can a person go?
Okay.
But I'll definitely give you an answer if I have an answer.
Okay. I want to maybe hold up the No, fuck it. All right.
You can post this.
In post, I'll put up a timer and like music to make everyone more anxious and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Favorite type of potato chip?
Baked sour cream and cheddar.
Favorite musical artist?
Limp Bizkit.
Should the name be Craisins or Cran-Basins?
Cran-Basins, obviously.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Have you ever killed anyone?
No.
Favorite category on Pornhub?
Siblings.
What's your purpose in life?
To live.
Oh, shit. We didn't make it. There are 2 questions left. Okay, maybe 30 seconds is a little too... That worked out so beautifully. All right. I'm still going to give you the subs, but now I know that 30 seconds is a little much. All right. A little too little. The last 2 are, you can take your time with these. How much money would someone have to pay for you to legally change your name to first name Raging, last name Jedman?
$50,000.
50,000. That's you wouldn't take 40?
No.
You wouldn't take 40 grand to change your name?
No.
All right. Well,
nope.
Fair enough. Last question was going to be, and there's no way I was getting through these last 2 quickly, so I said these should have been like 40 seconds probably, maybe. If you had to live in one city on the planet...
45 seems good.
What's that?
45 is probably good.
45? Yeah, I guess it really... I guess I just need to read the questions as quick as I can, see how long it takes me to do that, and then add maybe 3 seconds for each question or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 seconds per question.
Yeah, because the point is you don't have time, right? And you're supposed to answer without thinking. If you had to live in one city on the planet for the rest of your life that you've never visited before, which city would you choose?
Madison.
Madison?
Yep.
Wisconsin?
Yep.
Okay. Why Madison, Wisconsin?
Don't need a card there. Public transportation's good. You can walk to everything that you want to do.
That's like every city,
It's
though.
like it's not like a big city, but it's like big enough kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you'd avoid like the plague, like the real big, like metropolitan areas like New York and Tokyo and
I mean, no, I would live in New York. I almost moved to New York, actually.
But you prefer Madison.
Yeah, like the one of the rules was that it couldn't be a place that I've already visited.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I guess you wouldn't have. And my next question was going to be, have you been there? Are you basing it? Let's ignore my premise completely. And have you?
It's like, wow, have you never even been to New York? You're like, that'd be a great place to live. It's like, well, I have, but I can't.
All right. So now I would love, and I, for future. Thank you for being the guinea pig for this. By the way, the future. I'm not gonna in the future episodes, I'm not obviously going to telegraph how I'm thinking about dividing up the segments and what I want to get from them, but I want the end to be more personal. So I just want to ask you a few things. The first being, what are your aspirations just as a person, not necessarily as a streamer? Actually, correction. First, I want to ask your aspirations as a streamer, and then I want you to follow up also, if possible, if you don't mind, your just aspirations as a person. What do you hope to accomplish in life?
So the first one is, as a streamer, I guess my aspirations are to just continue doing what I want to do, but just do it more consistently, which is just play the games I want to play and have a community of people there watching me and like reacting to me and like chatting with me while I play games. One of the greatest experiences I had growing up was we had when like your friends would come over, and like a lot of people had like friends that came over and you would all play Smash, and I had it too. Like we had like Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, then eventually Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
So people would come over and we would play those games, and you do it like as like your friends, and like you would take turns and stuff like that. But and this is like before like the PC era took off. One of my fondest memories is like I would have people come over and just watch me play Final Fantasy VII. And they would just be like, "Oh, you're playing Final Fantasy VII?" And they would like come over, and I had like 3 or 4 people behind me just like watching me play like what I considered to be like not the most exciting or interactive game, right? I'm like reading dialogue and like breeding chocobos and like looking for like the off like the hidden maps and like the hidden like continents and stuff, like, which is like it's slow paced and you get into random fights and you have to like deal with the fights and blah blah. So I thought it was like really cool that people would like they were entertained enough, probably by the game at the time, because honestly Final Fantasy VII was a huge game. But even with other games like Super Mario RPG, people would come and just like watch me play. So it was like I have been like kind of geared into like enjoying having people watch me play.
Having company to like chat with and share the experience with you.
Yeah, and then like when like frustrating things happen, they kind of like the whole like crowd reacts, and it's like, yeah, I've been doing that since I was like 12, before the internet existed.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of my aspirations, just to play the games I want to play and just have people there that just want to hang out.
And before you go to the second part of the question, just to touch on that a little bit. So are you like me where it seems like you're past this, but where you're kind of having a fight with yourself about what to play, what you want to play versus like what you think might be a better thing to play on stream? It seems like you're past that. I still have that where I'm like, well, I know a lot of my followers want to watch or want to play like Goose Goose Duck with me and that, and so I'm always tempted, even if I want to play like, let's say Stardew right now, I'm into that. It's really fun to play that on stream and just chill. But I also have the constant in the back of my head, like maybe I should be playing something else.
Yeah, I don't really think about that too much anymore. Okay. Like, there was a game that came out that, what was it called? Witchwood. And I loved the game, and it just did not seem like a good stream game. But I ended up quitting playing it because I just wasn't having fun with it. That's a bad example, actually. No, like like I said, I haven't really been consistent with streaming like lately, so it's hard for me to give a recent example of a game that like was bad for streaming, but I just played it anyway. Like I did Diablo 2 and Valheim, which like aren't really like great anymore for streaming. But you know, like back in the day, like a few years ago when I was streaming, like I did jump on like all the hype train, like all the hype games that came out. Like when Nier Automata dropped, I'd like definitely played that like day one. So my first ever stream was going to be my charity stream for St. Jude's. And that was going to start on my birthday, and I was going to stream for a week, and then all the proceeds go to St. Jude's. And I had like, and it was basically like, you know, just like shouting it out to like my family and like my friends and stuff that I was going to do it. And I thought like a charity stream would be like a cool first stream, but then I like after like halfway into it, I was like, this is not a good idea for a first stream at all. I should not have done this. But before that happened, I was invited to the Necromancer beta in Diablo 3. So I was like, oh shit. So I have to stream that. So I ended up like before like my first official stream, I spent a week playing the Necromancer on Diablo.
You felt like you had you had an in with something a little bit, you know, exclusive. Yeah. You had an exclusive. Yeah.
So I definitely geared myself towards trends, but it was always trends that I wanted to play anyway. Yeah. So it's like I didn't like, you know, try to jump into like an MMO that was like launching on day one because like I just in general don't care about a lot of MMOs. Yeah,
no, I feel you. I don't care. I generally don't care about a lot of games. Like it's hard for me to get into something new. I like what I'm getting so old. Like I know. We're both young, relatively speaking, but I'm getting to the point where when it comes to games,
I mean, I don't think that.
What?
That's you.
I mean, we are though, you know. But sorry, please continue. So the second part of the question, obviously, what you remember is like.
Well, I just wanted to continue on the first one. I knew going into it, like that. As, you know, you said that you like researched the advice that like, you know, find a niche and like, you know, lean into it. So I knew going into it, like I wasn't going to like be able to like build myself up on a community, which I kind of did anyway, because I did like franchise runs. So when I did Kingdom Hearts, I played all of the Kingdom Hearts. That was my charity run. I was going to play all of the Kingdom Hearts games for charity. Ended up grossly underestimating how fast I could beat those games. Ended up only playing 2 of them. There's like fucking 7 at that time.
You're like, I'll beat 1 each day.
I was like, all right, well, I'll play 1 and 2. I'm not going to do all the. I was like, I can knock them out in a day, like a day for each game. Nope, absolutely.
Well, you
not.
Also stop and read everything too. You're not speed running.
Yeah. Well, I stop, read everything, and then I go and do all the side content because I'm not going to play a game if I'm not going to 100% it. So that's not me. So I ended up getting like a lot of like of the Kingdom Heart community, and a lot of that community is like European. So like my biggest like followers back in the day were all Europeans, and like I had like this Irish guy who would always come around, and like Ireland and the UK just like loved Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, really? Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting fun fact that Ireland and the UK.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I feel that you don't necessarily have to find a niche, but you do have to like play games long enough or like styles of game long enough to like be discoverable and have people like fall in love with your personality if they're going to. So like while I wasn't trying to be a Kingdom Hearts player, I did play every Kingdom Hearts I could for a week, which made me like, you know, like I did 8-hour streams back in the day. It was like 8 hours a day, every day of the week.
Wow.
So I was discoverable enough in that community to build up, you know, some visibility for people who were looking for Kingdom Hearts, and then they would come in and be like, "Oh, this guy's like decent to follow," and they would follow me. And then I started like, you know, Nier Automata and Final Fantasy, and like they would just hang out. And I played Nier Automata for like a week, and so people that wanted to watch that would come in. So, but again, I was playing for 8 hours a day, every day of the week. So, a little bit of a different story than my like 4 hours a day, once a month kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you're making big moves and you're doing upgrades and obviously huge life decisions and stuff, which are gonna, you know, cause waves. So, you know, of course, it's gonna affect your stream schedule.
Or avalanches or crumbling or however you want to say it. At some point, I'm going to need to start making money again.
Well, what's your, and that's, you know, that falls into the second part of the question, which is like, what's your greatest aspiration in life?
Finish my book. I want to write my book and get it published and then become a millionaire overnight and have people demand for more books. And then I just become a full-time writer and I make writing a category on Twitch.
Nice. So how's that going? I know at one point you mentioned you would set up a schedule for yourself. And how's keeping to your like writing schedule going?
Terribly. Since Elden Ring came out, I have not done any writing, but I call it research. Because Elden Ring is like super dark fantasy, and you know what? And George R.R. Martin was the story writer for this game, so you know what? This is research. I'm calling it research, so I'm still working, but not getting paid for it.
Right. Yeah.
I also didn't stream it. So it's like not even really.
That's what I call porn, man. I'm just like, this is just me trying to take something back to the bedroom for my wife.
Yep,
you know what I mean? I'm just trying to research new positions and moves and just really get ideas to take back home with me. You know what I mean? Same when when I'm out at strip clubs, it's just me trying to do some research. So I understand the mindset 100%. But if you actually are translating that over into writing more, what do you think? How long do you think you have left? If you really crack down, like what's your when do you think you could actually finish your novel?
I mean, if I really crack down, like the novel in my head is done. I have the entire thing done in my head. I know the plot hits. I know the characters. I know where they're going, what they're meeting. Yeah. I know everything. I know the ending. It's all written. So if I really cracked down and wrote it, I could have it done in a month.
Is it?
I could have it done literally. I could have the first draft done in a month.
Is part of it?
I definitely have editors that I'm sending it to help me.
Is part of it, and this is me just going is 2 seconds of just amateur psychology guessing, but is part of it the procrastination? And by the way, I'm not judging. I am the worst. If I ever tried to do something like you're doing now, it would never happen. I would procrastinate until I just gave up. But is part of it that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a scary thing as well? So the idea, because that moment that's a scary moment too, right? Even when you're complete, no matter how much you celebrate what you've accomplished, which is huge that you've written it, that's a scary part too, right? Handing it over and then being at the mercy of the public.
No.
Oh.
I think the public is going to love it.
Nice.
I am very confident that this is going to be one of the best fantasy novels ever written. My problem is, and this extends to everything, not just writing, but when I'm starting something new or something not even new, if I'm doing anything, I have to research the most bestest and optimal way to do that thing. So if I'm writing if I'm writing a book, I oh God, I've been drinking. So what are these people? What is Pat Rothfuss do? How does he write? What programs does he use? What kind of layout how does he do his timeline? Tolkien. What did Tolkien do? Did he write on paper? Did he use a computer?
Just the full methodology of the process.
What are the things that you did to not make it a waste of time to write? So I want to research all of that. And the answer is, to a lot of these creative pursuits, Twitch, writing, art, there is no best way to do any of that. And that's hard for me to understand. Yeah. And the way that I started on my book is literally just by opening Notepad and word vomiting into it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's how we got the first chapter of my book done. And so if I could just do that 9 more times, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I bought writing programs. I signed up for Skillshare, and I was like, how do you how do you do the writing to make the time that I invest into it the most optimal?
Yeah.
So I don't look back and think damn, I wasted 3 days, blah blah blah, doing this.
Well, and I'm sure you got something out of whatever courses you took on Skillshare too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely got great tips. I can't remember the name of the course I took. This is a year and a half, 2 years ago that I took this course. And I got a really good, timeline layout and how to write characters. And I'm still using that kind of information, but it's something as simple as what program do you use? Do you use Word?
Yeah.
Do you use Notepad?
And why? And why? What are the advantages of using like, you know, OneNote. Maybe they use OneNote because you can create all these sub tabs and like write ideas down and, you know, in them. And
well, and on that point, I bought a $50 license to a program called Scrivener, which is specifically built to write books. And it has like everything. You could like load cover art to it. And then you can like, there's a button at the end, like when you're done, like setting everything up, you hit it and it like compresses everything into like a book file to like send it off.
And you can see
like
how it looks and how the paragraphs actually sit on the page and everything.
Yep.
Nice.
And I was like, this is probably a waste of $50, honestly.
But it made me feel like this is progress. This is progress.
And I have like 77 tabs on the left side for everything. And I was like, and that's honestly helpful with what I'm planning to do, because this is like a book and I'm also writing a D&D campaign to go along with it. So it's like, it's helpful to like do characters and their motivations and all that stuff. So we have 3 minutes left.
I know, that's what I was about to say. So I want to ask you one last quick, easy, funny question.
Sure.
And then just chat for the last few seconds, just so if I do a fade out, at least there's a chat happening on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So quick question. Marry, bang, kill.
Oh, God.
Charizard, Pikachu, Snorlax.
I hate this. But I'll play along. Kill Pikachu. It's like the easiest thing I could ever say.
I was going to pick
marry Snorlax.
I'm sorry, you marry Snorlax? Okay. So you kill, you'd bang Charizard.
Yeah, just get it out of the way. He'd probably bang me, honestly.
So I was worried about that question, honestly. I was worried about that question because you know as well as I do that I don't have Pokemon knowledge. So I could have chosen I
was not expecting that question.
Because if I did, I could have chosen. I'm sure I could have chosen them in a way that so Pokemon in a way that would have been funnier, and not just three random that I knew off the top of my head. But I wanted to end it on something silly, and I knew that you're a fan of the Pokemon universe. So
it would have been better if you were like the three Pokemon could have been Lopunny, Gardevoir, and what is her name? The tree with the legs, the grass type with the nice legs. These are three kind of like attractive
nice legs
Pokemon with like just like legs and just like they're just like meant to be like kind of a little too pretty, and if don't Google them, so that would have been like a tougher choice and like definitely weird.
So we found out Jed's a leg guy, and that's the big takeaway from the conversation. Jed, thank you for being my first ever interview and the guinea pig for this. And my hope is that this is the first of hundreds, and we look back at how silly we were and how like what not well thought out that my questions were and everything. I hope that this is
go back in a year and do it all again just to like have the all right.
Of course we will. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Hopefully. You need to book your ticket if you haven't.
Yeah, I do actually. I was actually going to book it soon, but I just haven't. But yeah, I'll book it like in the next like 2 or 3 days. I'll let you know.
Okay. And I'm actually going to be
is there disc golf up there? Is there a course up there? Because I'm bringing my disc.
Yeah.
We're definitely playing.
We can play. Yep, there's one.